BlackRock, a company most people have never heard of, yet it quietly controls more money than the GDP of every country on Earth except the United States and China. Most financial institutions want to be visible. They want fame, prestige, and recognition. BlackRock, on the other hand, wants something far more valuable: silence, discretion, influence without spotlight. Because in the modern world, the most powerful empires don't show their faces. They move quietly in the background, shaping markets, controlling information, and influencing governments long before the public ever realizes it. Over the next hour, we are going to peel back the layers of this hidden empire, uncovering how BlackRock rose from a small startup in the 1980s into one of the most powerful forces on the planet, influencing your home, your job, your retirement, the companies you use every day, and even the decisions your government makes. To understand BlackRock, we begin with a failure, the kind that breaks most people. Larry Fink, a young Wall Street star in the 1980s, lost $100 million in a single bad bet. His career nearly ended overnight, but that loss forged something inside him, a belief that the financial world was too reckless, too emotional, too dependent on ego and instinct. Fink realized that to control risk, he needed something Wall Street didn't have: a system. In 1988, he founded BlackRock with a mission that was shockingly simple yet revolutionary: analyze risk using data. While other financial firms were gambling on gut feelings and intuition, BlackRock was quietly studying patterns, building models, testing algorithms, and gathering the kind of information that makes stock markets predictable, not chaotic. And then BlackRock built something that changed its destiny forever. It built an algorithm. A system so powerful, so interconnected, so deeply embedded in the global financial ecosystem that today it quietly oversees more than 10% of all the world's financial assets. Its name is Aladdin. Aladdin isn't just software. It is the most powerful financial computer network ever created. It analyzes trillions of dollars in assets, simulates economic crashes, evaluates risk for the world's largest banks, and whispers suggestions into the ears of the biggest players in global markets. More than 200 banks, hedge funds, insurance companies, and even government institutions rely on Aladdin to tell them what to buy, what to sell, what's safe, and what might collapse. Even the Federal Reserve has used BlackRock's tools. Think about what that means. If you are a major bank deciding how to invest billions, you consult Aladdin. If you are a government working to stabilize your economy, you consult Aladdin. If you are a massive corporation planning your financial future, you consult Aladdin. People call it the financial AI that knows too much, because, in truth, there is no other system like it. It sees what no one else sees. It knows what no one else knows. And the company behind it, BlackRock, becomes more influential every time someone uses it. But software alone doesn't explain how BlackRock grew into a global empire. That comes from something far simpler: ownership. BlackRock manages more than $10 trillion, more than any institution on the planet. And that money flows everywhere. BlackRock owns significant stakes in the world's most influential companies. Take technology, BlackRock holds major shares in Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Nvidia. These are the companies shaping our future: AI, cloud computing, digital infrastructure, and BlackRock is inside all of them. Move to the financial world. BlackRock holds large portions of Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs. These are the institutions that move the world's money, dictate interest rates, influence policy, and shape credit markets. Once again, BlackRock is their energy. BlackRock sits at the table with both sides of the global energy landscape of fossil fuels and renewables. It owns pieces of Exxon, Chevron, Shell, and also Tesla, solar companies, wind developers, clean energy startups. No matter which direction energy shifts, oil dominance or green transition, BlackRock wins. And then there is real estate, one of the most controversial pieces of BlackRock's empire. In recent years, as home prices skyrocketed and families struggled to compete in the housing market, Companies like BlackRock were buying entire neighborhoods in cash. Families see their dream home listed for $350,000, only to be outbid by a corporate investor offering $420,000 in cash. Overnight. No inspection. No negotiation. To many Americans, it feels like the rules changed without warning. Because they did. BlackRock discovered that single-family homes aren't just properties, they're long-term cash flow assets. Buy them, rent them, raise prices, and turn neighborhoods into corporate-owned communities. It's efficient. It's profitable. And it shifts homeownership away from citizens toward corporations. Some fear this future, a world where the largest asset manager on earth slowly becomes one of the largest landlords. Where families no longer own homes, but rent indefinitely not because they want to, but because they have no choice. BlackRock denies controlling the housing crisis. But whether they are the cause or simply a symptom of a broken market, the effect is the same. BlackRock is at the center of the conversation. Yet BlackRock's power extends even deeper into governments themselves. During the 2008 financial crisis, while banks collapsed and markets melted, the U.S. government turned to BlackRock. They weren't just consultants, they were the architects of the rescue plan. BlackRock helped decide which assets were worthless and which could be saved. Their fingerprints are all over the recovery. And then it happened again. In 2020, when the pandemic sent the global economy crashing, the Federal Reserve hired BlackRock to manage stimulus funds. In other words, the U.S. government handed BlackRock the keys to the financial system, letting a private company decide which corporations lived or died. And the companies that BlackRock chose to help. Many were the same companies in which BlackRock already owned shares. Critics call it a conflict of interest. Others call it a necessity. But either way, it reveals something extraordinary. Governments trust BlackRock more than they trust themselves. This influence extends into global politics through something known as ESG, environmental, social, governance criteria. BlackRock has been one of the strongest promoters of ESG standards worldwide. Supporters say it pushes companies to behave responsibly. Critics say it gives BlackRock ideological power. Through ESG grading, BlackRock can pressure oil companies to shift investments. It can influence tech companies to adopt new policies. It can push manufacturers to change supply chains. It can even influence governments by rewarding or punishing industries based on compliance. It is power without elections, influence without accountability, control without ever stepping into political office. For this reason, critics call BlackRock too big, too interconnected, too secretive, too powerful. Some go further, calling it a shadow government or the most powerful company in the world. BlackRock rejects these labels, arguing that they simply invest money on behalf of clients, pensions, retirees, institutions. But even if BlackRock doesn't intend to control the world, the sheer scale of its reach means its influence is unavoidable. When one company owns large pieces of nearly every major industry, when one company's algorithm helps guide global markets, when one company is hired by governments to solve financial crises, when one company quietly accumulates real estate, technology, and energy assets, it stops being a company. It becomes a system, a silent empire. And whether we like it or not, BlackRock affects almost every part of our daily lives. Your retirement savings. BlackRock manages many of the funds your employer contributes to. Your ability to buy a home. BlackRock's investment strategies influence housing prices. Your job. The companies BlackRock invests in determine which industries grow and which shrink. Your rent. Your mortgage rate. The value of your 401k. All touched by BlackRock's decisions. Even the technology you use for your iPhone, your social media apps, your cloud storage is tied to companies BlackRock partially owns. To understand BlackRock is to understand the mechanics of modern power, power that doesn't speak loudly. Power that doesn't show its face. Power that moves behind the curtain, shaping the world through money, data, and influence. BlackRock may not literally control the world, but it influences more of it than any corporation in human history. As money becomes power and data becomes currency, companies like BlackRock will shape the future in ways we are only beginning to understand. Whether that future is beneficial or dangerous depends on how much we choose to pay attention. This has been the hidden empire of BlackRock, how one company controls the world.